A tin of Heinz baked beans cost 6pence in 1952, and across Britain, widows and widowers learned that a single tin could feed them twice if they stretched it carefully. Times are dearer now, but the wisdom holds. 25 proper British suppers, everyone ready in 15 minutes, everyone kind to a pension, everyone made for one person eating alone with the wireless on for company. From the comfort of beans on toast to the quiet dignity of Welsh rarebit, each dish has fed generations through hard times and lonely nights. Stick with me to the end. Number 1 is the supper your nan made when there was nothing else in the cupboard, and it still beats anything from the chiller cabinet at Sainsbury's. Number 25, tinned spaghetti hoops on toast. Spaghetti hoops on toast may not appear in any cookery book worth the name, but it has rescued more quiet evenings than half the list put together. A small tin of Heinz hoops, around £1 at Tesco, warms through in a saucepan in under 3 minutes, while 2 slices of bread crisp under the grill. The orange sauce, sweet and faintly metallic, soaks into the buttered toast in a way that asks no questions about dignity. For a senior alone after a long afternoon, the appeal lies in the sheer ease of it. No chopping, no draining, no thinking required. Just the slow stir of a wooden spoon, the click of the grill, and a plate ready before the kettle whistles. It tastes of the school dinners of 1960, when these hoops first lined British shelves. And on the right evening, that memory alone is worth the price of the tin. Number 24. Pilchards in tomato sauce on toast. A tin or John West Pilchards costs little more than £1, yet contains enough oily fish to flood the body with omega-3, vitamin D, and calcium from the soft, edible bones. For a senior worried about strong bones and a steady heart, this supper does quiet work. Slide 2 fillets onto thickly buttered granary toast, mash them gently with the back of a fork, and let the rosy sauce soak in. A grind of black pepper, a squeeze of lemon if there is one in the bowl, and the meal is complete. Pilchards were the staple of Cornish kitchens long before salmon arrived in supermarket chillers, and the smell of warm tomato sauce on toast still carries the memory of Friday teas in the 1950s, when fish was thrift, not fashion. Ready in under 5 minutes from cupboard to plate. Number 23. Cream crackers with mature cheddar and Branston pickle. When the appetite is small and the kettle is on, there is little finer than 3 Jacob's cream crackers laid out on a side plate, each crowned with a thick wedge of mature cheddar and a teaspoon of Branston pickle. The brittle snap of the cracker, the slow yield of cheese against the tongue, the sweet tang of the pickle. These were the building blocks of 1,000 light suppers in front of the television news. A 200-gram block of Cathedral City costs around £3 and lasts a fortnight in the fridge if wrapped tightly in greaseproof paper. The whole supper takes 90 seconds to assemble, washes up with a single tea towel, and pairs beautifully with a small glass of milky tea. It carries the spirit of the WIT table, dignified and unhurried, where conversation mattered more than complication. Number 22. Grilled tomato on buttered toast. 2 ripe vine tomatoes, halved and laid cut side up on the grill pan, are transformed in 8 minutes by nothing more than a knob of butter, a pinch of salt, and a turn of pepper. The grill coaxes the sugar from the flesh, blistering the skin and concentrating the juices into something that tastes like the height of summer, even in February. Slide them onto a thick slice of toast slathered with salted butter, and watch the tomato bleed pink across the bread. A sprinkle of dried oregano, if the cupboard holds it, lifts the dish into the sort of supper Elizabeth David might have approved of. In the 1950s, gardeners across Britain grew their own tomatoes for exactly this purpose, and the smell of grilled tomato still calls to mind the lean-to greenhouses of Sunday allotments. Cheap, healthy, ready before the news ends. Number 21. Tinned mackerel on toast. Smoked mackerel fillets in a tin cost around £1.20 at Asda and offer some of the best value protein on any shelf. Drain the oil, flake the flesh onto 2 slices of granary toast, and dress with a teaspoon of horseradish from a jar. The peppery bite of the horseradish cuts through the rich, smoky fish in a way that makes the whole supper feel restaurant-worthy. It has taken 4 minutes from start to finish. A few capers, if there are any in the fridge, lift it further. Mackerel was the working man's fish in post-war Britain, abundant in the Cornish and Scottish fleets, and tinning preserved it for the larders of those who lived miles from any coast. For seniors, the omega-3 content supports memory and joint health, the kind of quiet medicine that asks for no prescription. Number 20. Crumpets with butter and Marmite. 2 Warburton's crumpets under the grill take just under 5 minutes to turn golden, their pitted faces drinking up melted salted butter the way dry earth drinks rain. A thin scrape of Marmite, just enough to darken the butter pools, transforms a humble tea-time treat into a savory supper rich in B vitamins, particularly B12, which supports nerve function and energy in older adults. A 6-pack of crumpets costs around £1, and they keep in the bread bin for a week. The smell of toasting crumpet has been a fixture of British kitchens since the Victorian era, the kind of comfort that needs no decoration. Eaten in an armchair with a cup of strong tea, this is the supper of choice for the dark afternoons of January, when the heating is on a timer and the house is quietly waiting for spring. Number 19. Fish finger sandwich. 3 birds. I-cod fish fingers, 8 minutes under the grill, slipped between 2 slices of soft white mother's pride spread with butter, and a stripe of tartar sauce, make a supper that has comforted generations of Britons. A box of 10 fingers costs around £2.50, so the meal works out well under £1. The contrast of crisp, golden breadcrumb against pillowy bread, the cool tang of tartar against the steaming fish, is the kind of small perfection that supermarket meal deals have never quite managed to replicate. For seniors, the cod itself provides lean protein and selenium, the latter quietly important for immune function. The fish finger sandwich was invented in workers' canteens in the 1960s and rose to become a national favorite, a dish that requires no skill but rewards careful assembly. The grill does the work while you butter the bread. Number 18. Liver pâté on toast with cornichons. A 175-gram tub of Brussels pâté from the chiller costs around £2 and provides at least 4 suppers. Spread thickly on slices of granary toast, paired with 3 or 4 cornichons from a jar and a smear of English mustard, it becomes a supper that feels considerably more elegant than its cost suggests. The pâté delivers iron and B vitamins in concentrated form, particularly useful for older adults whose appetites may have shrunk, but whose nutritional needs have not. Liver was once the cheapest meat in the butcher's window, recommended weekly by district nurses in the post-war years for its richness in iron. The cornichons, sharp and crunchy, cut through the richness in a way that keeps every mouthful interesting. A glass of water on the side, the lamp on, and the evening passes pleasantly with a plate of something proper. Number 17. Boiled egg with soldiers. A single boiled egg, 4 minutes for soft and runny, served in a china egg cup with 5 strips of buttered toast cut precisely the width of a teaspoon, is a supper so simple it borders on the sacred. Eggs cost around £2 for a dozen at Aldi, working out at less than 20 pence per supper. Dunk the toast soldier into the bright golden yolk. Watch it darken with butter and yolk together, and lift it dripping to the mouth. For older adults, eggs deliver complete protein along with vitamin D and choline, nutrients that support both muscle and memory. The boiled egg supper carries the gentleness of nursery teas, the comfort of being looked after, even when one is now the only person in the house. The kettle boils the egg and makes the tea in the same 5 minutes. No fuss, no waste. Number 16. Quick bubble and squeak. Sunday's leftover potatoes and cabbage, perhaps a forgotten sprout or two from a Tuesday roast, can become Wednesday's supper in under 10 minutes. Heat a knob of butter and a teaspoon of dripping or oil in a frying pan. Tip in the cold veg mashed roughly together and press it down flat with a spatula. Leave it alone for 4 minutes until the bottom turns deep golden brown. Then flip in pieces and brown the other side. Top with a fried egg if there is one going, and the supper has heritage stamped through every bite. Bubble and squeak was the Monday meal of post-war Britain, the proof that nothing was ever wasted. For seniors managing a small budget, the dish carries the additional gift of using up odds and ends, turning the contents of yesterday's roast into something that tastes brand new at the end of a long, quiet day. Number 15. Bacon butty. 3 rashers of unsmoked back bacon, 6 minutes under the grill or in a dry frying pan, laid between 2 thick slices of crusty white bread spread with butter and brown sauce. Make the supper that has held Britain together through wars, strikes, and Sunday hangovers. A pack of value bacon costs around £2 and provides 4 good suppers. The smell of bacon frying is, by some measure, the most beloved aroma in the country, the kind of scent that brings neighbors to the kitchen window. For seniors living alone, the bacon butty offers protein, satisfaction, and a small but real boost to morale. Salt content matters at this age, so unsmoked rashers and a thin scrape of butter keep the dish on the right side of sensible. Pair with a strong cup of tea and a piece of fruit, and the supper feels like a small celebration of being still here. Number 14. Garlic mushrooms on toast. A 250-gram punnet of chestnut mushrooms from Lidl, around 80 pence, is sliced into a frying pan with butter and a clove of crushed garlic. Over a high heat, they release their juices and then drink them back in, turning glossy and dark in about 6 minutes. A splash of double cream, if there is a small carton in the fridge, transforms them into something that would not be out of place at a country pub. Spoon over thick granary toast, scatter with parsley if luck and the herb garden allow, and the supper is complete. Mushrooms carry useful B vitamins and a surprising amount of vitamin D, especially if the punnet has spent any time on the windowsill. For a senior who fancies something earthy and savory without much effort, this dish punches well above its modest price. Number 13. Microwave jacket potato with cheese and beans. A medium baking potato, scrubbed and pricked, takes around 8 minutes in a microwave to cook through. Crack it open, drop in a generous knob of butter, top with half a tin of Heinz beans warmed in a mug, and finish with a handful of grated mature cheddar. The whole supper, start to finish, runs about 12 minutes and costs around £1.20. Potatoes deliver potassium, fiber in the skin, and slow-release carbohydrates that keep the body warm through a long evening. This was the favored supper of the 1980s working class, when microwaves first arrived in British kitchens and promised hot food without the wait. For seniors, the jacket potato remains one of the best returns on investment in the entire shopping basket. It fills the plate, fills the stomach, and asks only for a fork and a comfortable chair. Number 12. Buttered macaroni with cheese. A handful of dried macaroni, around 75 grams for one person, boils tender in 8 minutes. Drain it, return to the warm pan, and stir through a knob of butter, a splash of milk, and a fistful of grated cheddar, until everything melts together into something glossy and rich. No flour, no roux, no waiting. A grind of pepper and a pinch of mustard powder, if the cupboard holds it, lifts the dish considerably. The whole supper costs less than £1 and arrives at the table in under 15 minutes. Macaroni cheese in this stripped-back form predates the elaborate baked versions found in modern cookery books and recalls the wartime kitchens where cheese rations had to stretch impossibly far. For a senior wanting comfort without complication, this is the supper that wraps around the shoulders like a familiar cardigan. Number 11. Corned beef and pickle sandwich. A tin of Prince's corned beef costs around £2 and yields 4 or 5 proper sandwiches. Slice the chilled meat thickly, lay it onto buttered bread, top with a spoonful of piccalilli or Branston, and add a leaf of crisp lettuce from the bottom drawer of the fridge. The whole assembly takes 3 minutes, no cooking required. Corned beef carries the weight of British history in its salty pink slices, having sustained the country through 2 world wars and many lean years afterwards. The sweet vinegar of the pickle cuts the richness of the meat in a way that has never been improved upon. For seniors, the protein content keeps muscles strong and the iron supports healthy blood, while the simplicity of preparation means even on the most tired evening, a proper supper is only minutes away from the cupboard to the plate. Number 10. Ham, mustard, and tomato sandwich. 4 slices of honey roast ham from the deli counter, around £2 for a small pack, laid between thick slices of granary bread with English mustard, a few rounds of tomato, and a leaf of butterhead lettuce creates a supper of remarkable balance. The salty depth of the ham, the sweetness of the tomato, the heat of the mustard, and the gentle crunch of the lettuce make every bite a small conversation between flavors. The whole supper takes 4 minutes to assemble and provides protein, vitamin C from the tomato, and the satisfaction of something that has clearly been made with care. Ham sandwiches once arrived wrapped in greaseproof paper from local high street butchers, where the man behind the counter knew every customer by name. For seniors, the act of making a proper sandwich, with the bread the right way up and the butter to every corner, is its own small ceremony. Number 9. Tinned stewing steak with instant mash. A 392-gram tin of Prince's stewing steak in gravy, around £2.20, warms through in a saucepan in 5 minutes, while a sachet of Smash instant mashed potato hydrates with boiling water in another 2 minutes. Tip the steaming meat over the cloud of buttered mash, add a few peas from the freezer warmed in a mug with hot water, and the supper looks and tastes like a proper home-cooked dinner for under £3. The gravy clings to the mash in pools, the meat falls apart at the touch of a fork, and the whole plate carries the comfort of a Sunday lunch on a Wednesday night. For seniors who once spent hours over braising pots and pressure cookers, this shortcut version delivers the same warmth without the weight. The dish has been a quiet workhorse of British supper tables since the 1970s. Number 8. Heinz tomato soup with buttered bread. A tin of Heinz cream of tomato soup costs around £1.20. It warms through in a saucepan in 4 minutes, gently stirred to avoid catching on the bottom. Pour into a warmed bowl, lay alongside 2 thick slices of fresh white bread, spread heavily with salted butter, and the supper is ready. The slightly sweet, faintly metallic tomato flavor has not changed since the soup was first sold in Britain in 1910, and the recipe remains one of the most reliable cupboard staples in the country. For seniors, tomato soup delivers lycopene, vitamin C, and the quiet pleasure of a warm bowl in cupped hands on a cold evening. Dipping the buttered bread until it grows soggy with soup is a small act of pleasure that connects every generation of Britons who ever needed something warm without much effort. Number 7. Smoked haddock with poached egg. A 200-gram fillet of natural smoked haddock from the chiller, around £2.50, simmers gently in a pan of milk for 8 minutes, while a poached egg cooks in another pan with a teaspoon of vinegar in the water. Lift the haddock onto a warm plate, top with the egg, and let the yolk break across the golden fish. A grind of black pepper, a sprinkle of chopped parsley if available, and the supper has the feel of a Scottish breakfast taken at supper time, which is exactly its charm. Smoked haddock provides protein and iodine, important for thyroid function in older adults, while the egg adds choline and vitamin D. The dish was a Yorkshire and Aberdeenshire favourite long before it became fashionable in restaurants, the kind of supper that connects a senior eating alone to centuries of British kitchen tradition. Number 6. Cheese and tomato omelette. 2 eggs, beaten with a splash of milk, salt and pepper, are poured into a hot buttered pan and take 3 minutes to set. As the bottom firms, scatter a handful of grated cheddar and a few slices of tomato over half the surface, fold the other half over, and slide the whole thing onto a warm plate. The cheese inside melts into the tomato. The eggs stay just soft in the middle, and a side of buttered toast completes the supper for well under £1. Omelettes are one of the great quick suppers of the British repertoire, requiring nothing more than eggs, a frying pan, and a steady wrist. For seniors, the protein and healthy fats from the eggs support muscle maintenance, while the speed of preparation means even on the most uncertain evening, supper can appear on the table in less time than it takes the kettle to boil twice. Number 5. Sardines on toast. A tin of John West sardines in olive oil costs around £1.30 and contains some of the cheapest premium nutrition in any supermarket. Drain the oil, mash the silverfish gently onto 2 slices of buttered granary toast with the back of a fork, add a squeeze of lemon and a turn of black pepper, and supper is ready in 3 minutes. The soft edible bones provide calcium for aging bones. The oily flesh delivers omega-3 for the heart and joints, and the whole supper carries a small amount of vitamin D for the long British winters. Sardines on toast were the standard of widows' kitchens across the country in the 1950s, when fresh fish was a luxury and tinned fish was a daily lifeline. The taste is bold, the preparation is honest, and the meal has the quiet dignity that defines the best of British supper cooking. Number 4. Welsh rarebit. Welsh rarebit is cheese on toast taken seriously. Melt 50 grams of mature cheddar in a small pan with a knob of butter, 1 tablespoon of milk, 1 teaspoon of English mustard, a splash of Worcestershire sauce, and a generous pour of strong ale or beer if there is one in the fridge. Stir until smooth and thick, spread over thick toast, and slide under the grill until the surface bubbles golden and starts to blister. The whole supper takes 7 minutes and tastes 100 times more sophisticated than its modest cost suggests. Welsh rarebit has graced British supper tables since at least the 18th century, originally a way to stretch a small piece of cheese into a satisfying meal. For seniors, this is the supper to make when company calls unexpectedly, or when one simply wishes to feel that the evening deserves a little more than the ordinary. Number 3. Scrambled eggs on toast. 2 eggs cracked into a cold pan with a knob of butter, set over a low heat and stirred constantly with a wooden spoon. Take 4 minutes to become soft, glossy curds. Pile onto buttered toast, season with salt and pepper, and add a pinch of chopped chives if the herb pot on the windowsill is still going. The whole supper costs around 50p and arrives at the table in under 7 minutes. Scrambled eggs are the supper of choice for late nights, lost appetites, and lonely evenings. The food that feels like care from someone who knew you when you were young. For seniors, The protein, healthy fats, and lutein in the yolks support muscle, brain, and eye health together in a single plate. The trick is patience, low heat, and never walking away. The eggs ask only for attention. Number 2. Cheese on toast. 2 slices of bread, toasted lightly on one side under the grill, turned over and covered with a thick layer of grated mature cheddar, returned to the grill until the cheese melts and bubbles into golden blistered pools. It takes 5 minutes from start to finish and costs under 50 pence. Add a dash of Worcestershire sauce over the molten cheese, a turn of black pepper, and the supper is everything anyone could possibly want at the end of a quiet day. Cheese on toast is the most British of all suppers, a dish so fundamental to the national kitchen that it predates almost every other entry on this list. For seniors, the calcium from the cheese supports bone health, while the simplicity of the dish means even the smallest appetite and the most tired hands can produce a hot, satisfying meal that tastes of every kitchen in the country. Number 1. Beans on toast. Half a tin of Heinz baked beans, warmed gently in a small saucepan over a low heat for 3 minutes, poured over 2 thick slices of buttered toast, finished with a grind of black pepper and a small handful of grated mature cheddar that melts slowly into the steaming beans. The whole supper costs around 40 pence, takes 4 minutes to prepare, and remains, after a century of competition from every cuisine the world has to offer, the supper that Britain still cannot improve upon. Heinz beans first arrived in British shops in 1901, and by the 1960s they had become a national institution, found in nearly every kitchen cupboard from John O'Groats to Land's End. For seniors, beans provide fiber, plant protein, iron, and slow-release energy, the kind of quiet nourishment that supports long lives. The dish carries no pretension, no waste, no complication, just the sound of the spoon scraping the bowl clean at the end of another evening well managed alone. There they are. 25 proper British suppers, everyone ready in 15 minutes, everyone kind to the pocket, everyone made for a quiet evening at home with the lamp on and the curtains drawn. Tell me in the comments which one you reached for first, which one your own mother used to make, and which one you have not eaten since the 1970s, but plan to make again this week. Eating alone is not the same as eating poorly, and these suppers prove that a good meal asks only for a little time, a little care, and the willingness to sit down and enjoy your own company. Subscribe if these brought back a memory, and I will see you for the next list very soon.